Coach Jerrod Baugh. Appreciate everyone coming out to Sundown tonight. And, Coach, a huge victory last week. I've always wanted to say this in the radio booth, one that the final score wasn't indicative of how close that game was.
No, it wasn't. It was a very good football game. I think we came out in the second half and did what we needed to do to kind of spread the lead some, but, scored at the end to make it a 21-point game. And, it wasn't indicative to how tight the ball game was and how good a football team that Zachary was.
Yeah, and really you go through that. You look at Zachary, and we go through, and I'm not going to bring up Desterham, but you look at really we become the nemesis for Zachary. It's kind of unique in defeating him in the Dome last season and the year before when Eli Holstein was quarterback. They committed to Alabama, now at Pittsburgh, and then this year, but really a good rivalry between the two schools.
Yeah, I think so. You slipped that in there, you wasn't going to bring up Desterham because I guess it's the other way with us. And, maybe we'll have an opportunity to straighten that out the following week. Zachary's a really good football team. It's like I told our guys, meeting those guys in the second round is probably not your favorite matchup in the second round, but the way it's been for us, we've had to beat them. Obviously last year to win a state championship, 2 years ago in a semifinal game to get to the state championship, and doesn't make me any difference when we got to play them. It looks like we're going to have to play them one way or the other, so the second round was fine with me.
All right, I want to jump right into this and play the devil's advocate. You look at it, you always want to get a bye, and that is something because it means you're going to be playing at home. You get a week to rest your guys. But, Coach, you go back last year, Westgate took to Gavarian Key, stopping a two-point conversion from Westgate. And this year, is it a slow start or is it just the quality of the opponents? Because Westgate and Zachary, both very good football programs.
Maybe a combination of the two, but I think, you go back and look at it, I think Westgate – was not your typical second-round game either. Last year, the quarterback was hurt during the season. They dropped a few ball games, and, which drops them into power points, and then you end up getting matched up against a really good football team in the second round. And really the same thing this year. You look at Zachary's schedule. They get beat by Acadiana, Catholic, and Central, and you could put anybody in that schedule, and they stand a possibility of losing some ball games. And so – we play whoever it is we're matched up against, and really doesn't make us any difference.
As a head coach, do you look at the brackets and you go through and say, well, this is a matchup we'd like to have, or this one is going to be difficult? I know fans do that and look, I was hoping that we would get your alma mater and we could take that route and go versus West Washita. Is that something you look ahead and kind of go through? Because I know when you look at Zachary and Sam Houston, pretty good chance you knew you were facing Zachary.
To be honest, no. I don't pay a whole lot of attention to it. To me, once you get in the quarterfinals and so on, they're going to be really good football teams, and I don't know. You can have an idea of how good a football team you think somebody's going to be or what matchup you would really like to see and that sort of thing. But, for us, it's just win ball games and you hopefully win enough to get to a state championship, and then you got an opportunity to win it.
All right, let's look and talk about your defense, because always on the Bearcat Nation Network, we have a lot of highlights from the offensive side of the ball. So really wanted to focus on the defense. You had the shutout over at West Monroe, and then you go into the locker room tied at 14. What was the conversation like, and what did the defense do different in the second half?
I don't know that we did anything differently. Whenever you're playing a good football team and a good coaching staff, they're going to have some wrinkles early in the ball game that you're going to have to try to get adjusted to. And I think that's what you see. Our defensive staff does a really good job watching video during the game, going back at halftime and viewing the video, meeting with the kids at the half to see what adjustments we need to make, if there are any. Sometimes you see scores made, kid misses a tackle, they run one in, or we bust the coverage on one play. It's not necessarily the scheme of what you're doing. It's just that we're not executing the way we need to. And so I think our coaches do a good job of not panicking and making adjustments when they're necessary. We knew we were young coming into this football season. It was going to take our guys getting some experience. And I think they've gained that and, seem to be playing really well at this time, which this is the best time to be playing well.
Let's look at some of those defensive highlights, Coach, from past Friday night. And you look at this, you told us all along, and I didn't believe you. You said they had a great running back in Ruffin. He's similar to Jordan the Jet Hayes, and I just really didn't believe you, but a very good running back and tough to bring down.
Well, I can watch video, and you know, to me, I just draw comparisons of what our guys look like and what theirs in comparison to. And the big offensive line that they had, I knew he was going to be hard to find. That was one of the problems that Kyle Williams and I talked about at the half. He was just ducked in there behind that big offensive line and hard to find, and we did a better job of finding him in the second half.
Before we want to take a break, I think David Brewerton takes a page out of your book, You Two Are Alike. You had a chance to kick a field goal. You know my partial to kicking field goals, but they went for it on fourth down, and that was a huge stop, one of the difference makers in the game Friday night.
I believe so. I think both of us probably felt like field goals weren't going to win the ball game, and you need to score touchdowns.
All right, we're going to take a break. You're talking football with Ruston Bearcat head coach Jerrod Baugh. We'll be back in 3 minutes. Brazier Group Real Estate, Ruston's hometown real estate agents located in downtown Ruston on North Trenton Street, have been cheering on the Bearcats for over 35 years. Call a Brazier Group agent today to learn what Lincoln Parish has to offer. Whether you're buying or selling land, investment, commercial, or residential real estate, Brazier Group is leading the industry in our area and ready to help you with your next move.
Calling Bearcat Nation. This is Bill Hogan at Century Next Bank. Here we love our Bearcats, and we know there's no team like our home team. Remember, when you bank with us, you bank with locals. And that's a win for our community. Go Bearcats. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
Dan and I started Cummins & Fitz in October of 2018. We were both practicing family law and identified a need in our community.
A divorce is often one of the most traumatic and stressful experiences of a person's life. As family law attorneys, we are dealing with divorce, custody, child support, spousal support, and community property petitions. We understand that these issues are complex and that our clients need personalized, focused attention. We hope that you'll trust us when choosing who to represent you, should you find yourself going through a divorce.
Step into the winner's circle with a John Deere tractor from Goldman Equipment. Shop North and Central Louisiana's largest John Deere dealer. Goldman Equipment. We're not just in your field, we're in your backyard. Thank you for calling Goldman Equipment. How can I help you?
And on a journey towards the best dentistry with exceptional care, you need travel no further than the heart of Ruston. There you will find the team behind Johnston & Murphy Dental Care. It's a goal built on the tradition of excellence, established more than 60 years ago, a legacy in superior dental care and unparalleled customer service. It's a journey worth taking and one we're proud to make with you. Come experience the best dentistry and exceptional customer service. Johnston & Murphy Dental Care. There's a story behind every smile.
Headquartered in Ruston, Louisiana, Hunt Forest Products manufactures a variety of plywood lumber and other specialty wood products to meet a wide variety of building and manufacturing needs. Hunt Forest Products is family-owned and operated, practices sustainable forestry, and provides more than 400 Louisiana jobs. Hunt Forest Products is a proud supporter of the Bearcat football program.
Welcome back to Talking Football. We're Ruston head coach Jerrod Baugh live from the Sundown Tavern. And, Coach, great atmosphere tonight. Really appreciate Sundown opening their arms and hosting the show.
Yeah, I hope I'm not ruining anybody's meal.
I don't think you are, Coach. I want to jump into the offense because last year in the Dome, We defeated Zachary, but we had to go to the air. And you really saw the coming out party for Brantley really transitioning into a quarterback, not just an athlete playing quarterback, but that is one where they kind of stifled our running game. Was that a challenge for the offensive line and the running backs really to establish a running game last Friday night?
I think so. There's not many times where we get shut down and we're not able to run the football at some point during the ball game. But, that group they had playing in the defensive line last year was really good. It was hard to get the ball moving, and they committed a lot of guys to the line of scrimmage. And we had to find a way to move the football last year in the state championship game, and it happened to be throwing the football. But I think, coming into you just got to look at what matchups you've got. They had a couple of guys coming back in the defensive line, but they were breaking in some new guys. They didn't feel as confident with their secondary back there either, so you're not able to commit as many guys. They were trying to play a little zone coverage behind it, so that opened up some things in the running game. And anytime you've got some guys that they're scared of you throwing the football to, and I think we've got a couple of those guys playing receiver. They didn't like their matchups if they were going to play man coverage, and so you got to back some guys up, play zone, and opens up things in the running game.
You look at your goal. Do you have a balance? You want to be 50-50, 60-40, 70-30? What is the offensive game plan, and does that vary week to week?
100% to nothing trying to win. And it doesn't make me any difference whether it's running the football or throwing it. We put game plans together to try to figure out what it is we need to do in order to win football games. And, I know running it up the middle isn't necessarily what everybody likes to see, but a lot of times that's what it takes if you feel like you can wear somebody down and they get tired of you running it up the middle too. But, you would like to see a football team that's 50-50. I think that's what everybody would like to see. You're able to run the football. You're able to throw the football. But we're going to do and lean on whatever it is that's being successful or where your matchups are. There's a lot of times where your guys that you're throwing the football to may not be able to get open against the secondary guys that they've got, but you like your matchups inside a little bit better running the football, or if it's going to be rough in there inside that they've got some big defensive linemen that's hard to get blocked on, you may like your matchups out wide better. I mean, it's not just something that's what it is that I prefer to do. It's what we got to do to win the football game.
I'd probably disagree with you and say that you were against the forward pass, but you did change it up a little bit. We saw some wrinkles, and that is something that you worked on last week, or what did you see? The wheel route, probably, I think, in my opinion, the call of the year, the wheel route to Jordan the Jet Hayes, and then you had the hook and ladder, or hook and lateral, whatever you may say, and then the jump pass. So those were three things that we haven't seen all year. Is that something that's been in your back pocket, you were waiting for the right time, or is that something we put in last week?
No, that's stuff we work on all year. All of those plays have been in the book all along. Sometimes you don't find the time that's the right time to throw that out there. And I thought our coaches did a really excellent job in the game plan. I thought they found the right time to be able to put those plays out there. Coach Griffin dug those out and got them dialed up at the right time. Of course, everybody likes to see those when they work. If Ahmad ends up catching that football and pitching it on the ground, everybody be yelling like, what's going on? Why are we doing that stuff? But whenever it works, I mean, man, everybody thinks it's the best thing. So, we consistently work on those things weekly. Just so that we have them available whenever we need them.
All right, do you micromanage, or do you say, hey, how about the wheel route on this one? How about the hook and ladder? We've been working on it all year. Or do you just he just goes through?
For the most part, nowadays, I let those guys work it out. As things have progressed, from me being a play caller on offense, I have progressively backed out of there more and more.
Do you miss it?
I do. I like that part of the game. I'm a math person, and for me, scheming somebody up and figuring out where you can get them beat is something that I just like to do.
Let's take a look at some of those offensive highlights from last week, and we'll see some of those plays and the new wrinkles. They're not new wrinkles, but things that you put in.
Yeah, toss it to Jordan. That's not a new wrinkle.
No, it is not. that touchdown run to give the Bearcats the lead, really one of the best plays. I mean, 70 yards. He had a chip on his shoulder. You know, he knew he was shut down a little bit in the Dome last year.
Yeah, I think he did have a chip on his shoulder going into this ball game, and it was something that he was wanting to do, was be able to break a few big runs. Dylan had some really good runs also in the ball game. And, those two guys on the 1-2 punch, there goes the pitch back to Jordan. And like I say, when it works, everybody likes that. But that's something, really we got that play from Boise State back, I don't remember what year it was, whenever they ran that. They run a little
Ian
curl
Johnson,
route.
yes.
Yeah. And so they beat Oklahoma in a bowl game.
That's right, and Ian Johnson proposed his fiance that night. I want to go real quick. Let's talk about it. You're one that doesn't shy away from moving freshmen up, and Dalen Powell, great job on the return game for the Bearcats last Friday.
Yeah, Dalen's going to be a really good football player for us. Really kind of been knowing that for the last few years, him coming through junior high. Really, I've been around Dalen a long time. He was our ball boy for years and years. And, he had the opportunity to get back there and make some really big kickoff returns. I think we had a holding call on one that brought
I didn't see it.
back. I didn't either. But I think it's very good for him to get some experience this early and really, maybe be able to fill the shoes of Jordan and Dylan whenever they graduate.
We're talking football with Ruston head coach Jerrod Baugh from the Sundown Tavern. We'll be back in 3 minutes.
Firmly founded since 1936, Pierce Lumber has been your go-to for quality building products in Ruston and North Louisiana. Whether you're doing a small project or building something new from the ground up, they have the products and materials you need from start to finish, including Benjamin Moore paints and No. 1 kiln and dried treated lumber processed locally by Mid-State Wood Preservers. They carry tools from DeWalt, Milwaukee, Senco, and Ego Power Tools for the maintenance for your home. They are located at 1032 Burgessville Road in Ruston, or you can check them out on Facebook or Instagram. Go Bearcats!
Holland Real Estate Group has been serving the commercial real estate needs in Louisiana for over 30 years.
Because your business means everything to you, we know the importance of proper planning and location management. With our extensive knowledge of the area, we're able to create individualized solutions for our clients. We work closely with our community leaders to understand growth in the area. Ensuring successful win-win relationships for our clients is what we do best.
Building a life is different for everyone because everyone is different. That's why State Farm is there. Contact local agent Skip Russell for a quote today.
Tammy Patterson from Vanguard Realty is a Ruston High alum who proudly supports the Bearcats. Let Tammy Patterson handle all of your real estate needs. Call Tammy at 318-245-9872 or 318-855-2925. That's Tammy Patterson from Vanguard Realty.
Headquartered in Ruston, Louisiana, HGA is a full-service project management and engineering services firm providing professional services to clients throughout the U.S. and overseas. HGA builds long-term client relationships by listening to clients, leveraging the experience of its professional team, and delivering on its commitments. HGA is a proud supporter of the Bearcat football program.
When it comes to physical therapy, there's one name to know. That's Johnson Physical Therapy. And as always,
Welcome back to the Jerrod Baugh Show, talking football with Jerrod Baugh from the Sundown Tavern. And, Coach, my favorite part of the show, and, of course, Carswell wants to do it all. He wants to run the camera. And our first question is from Carswell. Who picks the uniform combination for the Bearcats?
I have a group of seniors that I'll text usually on Monday or Tuesday evening, and they get to pick. And so it has zero to do with me. I'm not a fashion expert by any means, and it looks like sometimes neither are they.
Well, I want to jump into it. Questions come in. They roll in each and every week. And you can send your questions to bearcatmedia@lincolnschools.org. Coach, you want to jump into it. If you weren't a football coach, what would you be?
I've gotten that question before, and, whenever I got ready to get into college, there were a couple of 2 or 3 other things that I would have been. One of them would have been a lawyer. And I think you get a chance to see that whenever some officials make calls. I try to do my bid about being a lawyer and try to talk them out of it. I don't have a very good ratio of being successful with that. And then, oddly enough, meteorologist.
Really?
Yeah. Those were the 2 other things, and I've chose the one that makes the least amount of money out of any. I really like this profession. My mom was a girls basketball coach. My dad coached girls basketball for a while before he changed careers, and I love what I do.
Now, you probably would have had to go to Mississippi State for your weather conditions. So I want to jump into that. So I get to ask my questions now, mine, and we have several more submitted. I'm going to get to those, but I'm going to ask you, like in the coaching profession, I know that you coached in the state of Texas, but I want to ask you, like your peers, you always talk about coaching and being a great fraternity. Are there coaches that you are closer to? Like who would you say is the guy that you bounce things off of, not necessarily someone on our staff at Ruston High School, but who is a coach that you really are peers with?
I've really got quite a few that I've coached with in the past that I consider friends, mentors, colleagues, all of that. Obviously, coaching for Pat Collins for a long period of time, I learned a lot from him. A lot of things, what to do, what not to do, how I would do things, and a lot of it. Really, I thought whenever I was a young coach and he was older, I thought he was kind of crazy with a lot of the things that he said and a lot of things, the reason he did things. And it seems to be the older I get, it seems like the old man was right about a lot of the stuff that he did. And, and then coaching with John King for a long time, the head coach at Longview, and John Berry, which is the defensive coordinator there, that was my defensive coordinator in Gladewater, Texas. Those 2 are guys that you can ask, even though we play each other, it's a good thing to have guys in the coaching profession that they're not just about winning their ball games. Like both of us talked about, what things after we played, what things going into the ball game did they think, the strengths and weaknesses of each football team, just trying to help each other out down the road.
And I think those guys really celebrated the state championship that you won last year. As much with you, they were happy, and you can tell that relationship is there, Coach. And that's another question we had this week. What is the biggest difference between coaching football in the state of Louisiana and coaching in the state of Texas?
There's just more teams. I think, I think there's a handful of teams in non-select Division I that really legitimately have a shot to win the state championship, and you look at Texas and you can just multiply that number of teams. So you're going to run into, in the playoffs, you're going to run into, of course, our setup was a little bit different with Zachary meeting them in the second round, but over there you're just going to meet some stronger teams probably earlier in the playoffs, and I would say probably more so Texas is more set up like a college situation. When they hire a coach, he brings in a staff, and it's more of a business-like deal. And if you don't win, then you hit the road. And really that's kind of the attitude that I bring to the table. I think I don't think there was any indication whenever I took this job that if I didn't win football games that I was under any illusion that I'd just get to hang around because I'm a great guy, and I think you get some argument about that too.
All right, I'm going to ask you this question, and this is a really good one. You bring in, we have a great, the most intelligent audience in all of sports. If you could change one thing about football in Louisiana, what would it be?
To be honest, the rules. I don't like the NFHS rules. I think we should probably use the college guidelines a lot like they do in the state of Texas. I think there are some rules that are just really not very good. Particularly one that stands out for me is if you kick an onside kick and you're offsides, you get to re-kick it.
It rewards the team, yes.
It rewards the team that's trying to get an onside kick. Even if the other team recovers it. So if at the end of the ball game, if all you need to do is recover an onside kick and you get it recovered and the other team was offsides, they still get to kick it again. And there's just some rules in the NFHS that to me just don't make a lot of sense. And they're trying to change some of those, but they're just, to me, not doing it fast enough.
Coach, this past week you made a decision to wear a helmet decal on the helmets, honoring the memory of Dub Jones, the Brown family. We were out in Cleveland. I was wearing one of the Ruston pullovers that you had given me, and someone said, "Is that Ruston, Louisiana?" I said, "Yes, it is." He said, "Dub Jones is from there." Just really, just a great. Just great for that family to honor that legacy and tradition this past week.
Well, I think it's important for our players to know the tradition of where it is that they go to school. There's not a lot of places you can go like Ruston where there's been a long, long tradition of great football players, great people, and the school is great. And I think it's important for our kids to know that. It's, one of the reasons that I fully supported, whenever they started coming up with the idea of putting the mural up on the wall in there in the field house. I thought that was a wonderful idea. It's something that you can go look at, and players that are there can go in and look at and see, like, how far our football program has grown. And, where it started at and the players that were involved, and they can go look. And, we've got coaches on our staff that played. They can go look at pictures of those guys on the wall. There's just a wide variety of things, and I just think it's so important that they know the history of that and where it came from. And Dub Jones was an absolute, really maybe the start of all of that.
In this past week, I didn't want to micromanage, had the kids put together a tribute for Dub Jones. You can see that now on the Bearcat Nation Network. We're live from Sundown Tavern. We're talking football with Jerrod Baugh. We'll come back in 3 minutes and talk about the Southside Sharks.
Bearcat Nation mourns the loss of a true legend. William Dub Jones was an American professional football player who was a halfback for 10 seasons in the National Football League and the All-America Football Conference in the late 1940s and early 1950s. He shares the NFL record for touchdowns scored in a single game with 6. Jones played football at his high school in Ruston, where the team won the state championship in 1941, his senior year. He attended Louisiana State University on a scholarship for a year before being transferred to Tulane University as part of a World War II-era U.S. Navy training program. He played college football for the Tulane Green Wave for 2 seasons before joining the Miami Seahawks of the new AAFC in 1946. The Seahawks traded Jones at the end of the 1946 season to the AAFC's Brooklyn Dodgers, who then sent him to the Browns before the 1948 season. That year, the Browns won all of their games in the AAFC Championship. After the Browns went to the NFL, Jones was twice named to the Pro Bowl, the NFL's All-Star Game, including in 1951 when he set his touchdown record. Jones retired after the 1955 season, but returned to the Browns as an assistant coach in 1963. He is a member of the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame and the Greater New Orleans Sports Hall of Fame. The Bearcats are honoring him tonight by wearing a special helmet sticker.
The State Farm Personal Price Plan helps you create an affordable price just for you. Contact local agent Skip Russell for your personal price plan today.
Tammy Patterson from Vanguard Realty is a Ruston High alum who proudly supports the Bearcats. Let Tammy Patterson handle all of your real estate needs. Call Tammy at 318-245-9872 or 318-855-2925. That's Tammy Patterson from Vanguard Realty.
Headquartered in Ruston, Louisiana, HGA is a full-service project management and engineering services firm providing professional services to clients throughout the U.S. and overseas. HGA builds long-term client relationships by listening to clients, leveraging the experience of its professional team, and delivering on its commitments. HGA is a proud supporter of the Bearcat football program.
Provision Security says Go Bearcats and offers everything you need for residential and commercial security: camera systems, alarms, alarm monitoring, networking, audio, visual installation, and home entertainment. All cameras can be viewed on your smartphone as well as activating the alarm. Competitive rates and friendly service as we strive for perfection. Provision Security, preserving your past, protecting your future.
Hunter Smith, class of 1999, and Josh Beckham, class of 2006, are firmly founded. Contact us for two Bearcats who will be a trusted advisor in your next sell or purchase of recreational, investment, or hunting property. Go Cats!
At GBT, we're more than just a bank. We're part of the community, and we're proud to cheer on Ruston High Athletics.
Whether it's on the field, court, or track, we're excited to stand by.
Back to talking football with Ruston head coach Jerrod Baugh live from the Sundown Tavern. And, Coach, what can you tell us about the Southside Sharks, one that maybe many Bearcat fans are not familiar with? I can tell you head coach Jess Curtis spent some time at Manny, 1 year at Natchitoches Central, then bolted for Southside. Good program down in South Louisiana.
Yeah, they're kind of a newer school down there, but they've had some success in the past, and it's an open enrollment district down there, and so they're able to get some kids from different spots. But he's done a good job coaching football for a long period of time, and they're a good football team. This time of year, you're not going to run up against somebody that's not a good football team. Kind of unorthodox on offense. They're similar to, those people that follow us, similar to what Bird does on offense, that we scrimmaged those guys earlier this year. So we'll have to lean on some of that stuff that we did defensively against those guys. And, anybody that's played against the double wing offense, it's just different for your kids to get used to. It's very hard to simulate in practice to be able to get scout teams to be able to do those things. I think our guys have done a good job of that so far. It's just different. They've got a young quarterback, a sophomore fullback that operates that. Very tough kids. For a sophomore, operates their offense really well. But number 9 is who they're trying to get the football to. They'll kick motion him, toss it to him, do a little hand sweep deal that they're trying to get the football to him, and they do a good job of a lot of different formational things. Unbalanced lines, end over, a lot of things you got to get adjusted to just to be able to line up and really trying to get him the football. Do a really good job.
I think one of the things you really have to be careful from on a team like that is, Coach, you're limited on your offensive possessions because they want to get the ball and they want to really just eat up the clock. I think they're going to try and slow the game down this Friday night.
Yeah, I would think so. I think whenever you operate in an offense like that, if you get in a rhythm, then that's what you do is you try to eat up a lot of clock, and they'll try to limit our big play capability, out of Jordan and Dylon and Josh and all the receivers that we have. They'll try to limit those possessions that we've got, but we need to make the most of the opportunities that we have on offense. And I think looking at that at those guys defensively, they've got a couple of big guys inside that we're going to have to be able to handle inside. They play man coverage across the board, so we're going to need to be able to win some matchups out wide against those guys. I like some of our matchups that we've got against them. I think our coaches have put a good game plan together to be able to motion some guys around, get them into some open space where they can make some plays, and so looking forward to it.
How are their special teams? We always ask that. How are the special teams for the Sharks? First time the Sharks have invaded North Louisiana.
Well, nobody will like their kickoff game because it'll be, it'll look like their onside kicking if they squib kick it every time. And hopefully they just get to do one kickoff, and we'd be really happy with that. That means they haven't scored. But if they kick off very much, they'll squib kick it. Probably for a lot of the same reasons that we kick the ball all over the place. They're not wanting to kick the ball to Aiden Anding or Jordan Hayes or Dalen Powell. They're going to try to limit the possessions that those guys get. And, I think they're really sound. They don't punt the ball a bunch. You can expect that if they get on the plus end of the field, they're going to go for it on fourth down. And if it's 3rd and 8 on the plus side of the field, they're going to run the football one more time, see where it lands on fourth down, and then probably run it again. They're about a 90% to 10% run pass ratio. So our fans will absolutely not like to see this football team. They already think we run the ball too much.
No, knowing those 3 yards in a cloud of dust is the way to go. But I tell you what, speaking of our fans, Coach, we need them. We know they're all in town. The only people we want watching the Bearcat Nation Network or listening on Q94.1 are those that are out of town. We need everyone to pack the house this Friday night.
We sure do. Yeah, get off your butt and come to the ball game if you're in town. And, if you're planning on going to the hunting camp, then, wait till Saturday morning. I think everybody needs to get out and support these kids. I think they've earned it. Bring everybody you got over for Thanksgiving. Tell them to hang around on Friday and bring everybody to the football game. Our kids really have learned to enjoy that environment that they've got out there at the football game whenever there's a lot of people there to support them.
Well, we appreciate the Sundown Tavern hosting Talking Football with Ruston head coach Jerrod Baugh. Join us next week, and we want to see you at Hoss Garrett Stadium this Friday night as the Bearcats take on the Southside Sharks. Appreciate you listening on Q94 and the BearcatNationNetwork.com.